I have a number of amendment papers on the title of this bill, and I want to address some of them, because I think one of the things, Madam Chair, we've heard throughout this discussion is still a lack of clarity from the Minister regarding the kind of the rationale behind why this bill needs to be introduced into the House under urgency, other than the fact that it is a budgetary concern. But what I'm particularly flabbergasted by is the fact that we have a system in place where literally the government is going to want to do anything, including punching down on low-paid New Zealanders, other than to improve the tax system. So I want to ask the Minister if the Minister would consider my amendment paper that says that this bill is better called Equal Pay, do anything other than improve the tax system amendment bill, or Equal Pay, punch down on low-paid New Zealander amendment bill. Because what we are seeing as a result of this bill is that there is going to be more blue, yellow, and black tapes being placed for women to claim, to have that equal claim or equal pay claim. So would then the Minister consider my amendment, which is Equal Pay, more blue, yellow, and black tapes amendment bill? That's just to start. Sorry, that is just some. Occasionally. That is just some of the considerations.
Point of order. Sorry, Tim van der Molen, point of order.
Madam Chair, just with regards to the titles being proposed by the member, there is a long-standing convention that there must be genuine attempts to reframe the title of the bill in a reasonable manner. And the ones that have been proposed are clearly disorderly, which is actually outside standing.
They've come through the process and they've been approved. Dr. Lawrence,
yes. Thank you. Thank you for raising that concern. And I think this, whether they are in order or not, will be determined as part of the voting process. So continuing on, but let us be clear in terms of this bill. This bill is nothing short than a war on women. And so I want to check with the Minister if the Minister would actually consider Equal Pay War on Women Amendment Bill. Because all we are hearing from the Minister, when we are giving the Minister examples of people who has been spending decades of their life trying to fight for equal pay and equal rights for themselves, all the Minister is able to tell us is that, oh, we really appreciate the work that they're doing, and we really see them, and we really care about them. So, you know, from my perspective, that is the equivalent of thoughts and prayers. So would the Minister consider my amendment Equal Pay, thoughts and prayers, but your salary won't get higher amendment bill? Because this is what this bill is going to be doing. But honestly, it's just simply a loss of, I'm at a loss for words in terms of what this is doing. Because over and over again, we have heard through this last day and through the debate around the fact that this particular bill will have detrimental effect on people, actually not just on women, that this bill will also have consideration and concerns for all workers. So this is on behalf of my colleague Francisco Hernandez as well. Finally, the Minister would consider Equal Pay War on Workers, period. Equal Pay War on Workers Amendment Bill.
Madam Chair.
Honourable Brooke van Veldon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Look, I will take the time to respond to a couple of the contributions that have just been made. Firstly, starting with Camilla Bellich. No, I won't be accepting the title change to the bill that the member has suggested, although I do thank the member for at least getting to the heart of the matter here, that we are not actually getting rid of the Act. And so I thank the member for acknowledging this, because the other member in her party, Kieran McNulty, stood to make a contribution suggesting that we change the name of the bill to a repeal bill. But that's not true, because we are not repealing pay equity, and we are not repealing the Equal Pay Bill. And the title of this bill is quite correctly named because we are amending the Equal Pay Act, so it has been named accordingly as an amendment to that. And so that is the same answer that I have to Lawrence Xu-Nan and his contribution on behalf of Francisco Hernandez as well. I have to admit, I enjoyed Jan Tinetti's contribution, because while she started out talking about changes to the commencement date, which we won't be making, I heard her try to rewrite history. And I think that's quite amusing, because she made a contribution suggesting that when amendments first came through this House, in order to put in place a pay equity system, that they were comprehensively tested, which is not true, because Labour's amendments came through under an SOP that was rushed under urgency without consultation. So it is quite rich of the Labour Party to stand here talking about process, when the pay equity system with substantive policy changes to pay equity came through an SOP rushed by the Labour Party through urgency.
Helen White.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I first of all want to talk about the commencement period.
It's amazing how, this was rushed under urgency, this was rushed under urgency, this was rushed under urgency. He's me who's rushing it under urgency. And no, I won't accept any of the changes made to them. And no, this is not a repeal bill, even though it looks like a repeal bill, because you can still do pay equity claims under my super high standards that no one can reach.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, so what's the difference between an amendment and a repeal? So an amendment is a minor change or addition designed to improve a text or a piece of legislation. A repeal is a revoking or an annulment. So what the fuck is this amendment?
The current negotiations is an annulment.
Yeah, I mean, look, all those claims were suspended. I would call this a repeal. So let's go on Dr. Lawrence. So Dr. Lawrence, I think we've all established that he has a PhD of honours in SAS. He's a very sassy lad.
As well as Egyptology.
But yes, he's got that PhD in SAS. But yeah, so why doesn't the government want to eliminate gender pay gaps in both? Why do they not want to eliminate? Yeah, why do they not want to eliminate gender and ethnic pay gaps? Well, because it would cost them about 17 billion. Let's have a look at my notes. Yeah, 17.6 billion per year of wages, salary payments. Why do this when you can buy helicopters, give tax cuts to landlords and corporations? Why? You need that $17.6 billion, right?
Yeah.
Or you can invest 29 million in Agri-Zero and other things like that for pump and dump patent methane things that are going to destroy our export market and introduce GMOs and all that sort of things. And then those can all be privatized, so the taxpayer gets no advantage of it either. So the whole thing is a bit of a disaster, to be honest. It sounds like, because I trained as a teacher, it sounds like I'm dealing with two kindergartners where one is saying, you did it first, no, you did it first, no, you did it first. And it's sort of like, can we just stop with that and actually have some evidence-based reason for a change? And it doesn't really matter who did it first, it matters where we go from here, because we can't rewrite history, but we've got to go forward. And there seems to be no sensible or logical reason for why this has happened.
Yeah, and Kai Matara brought up a good point. And disabled pay gaps. Yes, I don't know how much extra that's going to add on to the billions of dollars that it was going to cost to resolve this issue. But yeah, in the study that I looked at, it doesn't even include disabled people. So, there's a lot of inequity there.
But there should have been a whole heap of people that were consulted, that they could have brought reports to Parliament and said, no, these are the 5 key things that we need to change because the legislation is not working because of this, this, and this. And then it would be a reasonable debate. But at the moment, all we're getting is just, we should change the name. And, it must be frustrating for the opposition to be sitting there and trying to oppose it based on no evidence, because they don't know why it was even brought in the first place, and they've just got a single-minded thing that we're going to pass it, and we're going to pass it in 2 days and screw everybody's work for the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's like it's an unwanted surprise, an unwanted jump scare. It's like blah, and then people are like, "Well, shit, we've got to get all our shit together so we can debate this."
But it destabilizes everybody, and so all that's going to happen is when Labor does get back in, or the left gets back in, they're going to bring in revenge policies. So they will bring in capital gains tax. And all of the people that have pushed for this will actually suffer from it, instead of saying, we're just not going to behave like this to each other and to the New Zealanders that we represent. We're not going to represent our lobbyists over the workers.
Well, you might end up having a revenge bill going through, we passed the law to rip up the contract for school lunches with Compass, and no, you're not entitled to any compensation. They could pass a bill to do that, and that would be legal, to state that it was done in improper processes or whatever they want to do. They could do that.
You could pass a bill that Compass can no longer work in New Zealand, that their license to supply food is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of not against that, considering that the kids got melted plastic, but I support workers, so I don't like screwing over workers.
Yeah.
Those lunches where we are, they were supplied by local businesses. Why would you take that away from a local business, put it in a global corporation that employs people at lower wages? Yeah. Why would you just keep it local? A lot of the farmers around here were donating for the kids' lunches to make sure that they had good quality food and fresh food. And all of that's just been taken away so it can be centralised. And there was no rhyme or reason for it, apart from they donated to ACT, probably.
You know what's funny? ACT calls themselves the Libertarian Party, and yet here they are doing authoritarian things, trying to centralise and consolidate as much power as possible. Whereas the actual libertarian position, and I'm a libertarian, I'll put my hand up, I'm a woke libertarian, by the way, but left-wing libertarian. But the goal is about small governments, is about decentralization. So it's about, like you said, supporting small local businesses so they can feed the schools.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's an example of libertarianism.
Yeah,
That's ethical.
Yeah, it's closer to distributism, where you basically don't let monopolies take over and control the market, because the only intervention in the market is supposed to be not letting people take over and then be able to buy policy.
Yes. And not so Bernadette. Yes, and I apologise to the audience that I haven't been bringing up disabled people enough. I'm going to make a conscious effort to do that, because quite often you are correct. Disabled people are often left out of this conversation because we go, woman. And what's the first thing that comes to mind? An able-bodied woman. We don't think about disabled women that are out there in their wheelchairs going, yeah, I can work, but I'm getting paid like shit. So, yes, I'm going to do a more conscious effort to bring up disabled people.
And we don't do a lot on, and I don't even know if this bill can address it, but there's also the class issue where, you know, you've got people born into privilege, and so they are able to get into jobs, versus people that have come from really poor backgrounds and they've put themselves into a position, and you're disadvantaging them because they just don't have that backup or the family support. You know, being the first, so many people you hear on, even on your show, they're the first generation that went to college or university and things like that, and they haven't come from wealth. And they've pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, and they're still getting kicked.
That's my mother in a nutshell that you just described. She got a degree, still getting kicked.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok.